And so if you knock on the doors and nobody's opening the doors that you're knocking on, if you think about it and you're capable of doing it, build your own house.
Yeah.
Put all the doors you want,
Yep.
open them up and help other people. So May 11th, I'll be doing my pro fight here in Indianapolis.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna have to.
That's a Saturday.
Depending on what I do for my birthday or where I go, because my birthday's May 7th, so I don't know if I'm doing something before or after. But I definitely would love to see you fight. And I love what you just said. That's why I created my own podcast, because everybody don't want to work with you, or they don't see the value in you, and or they telling you no, or nah, I'm good, or oh yeah, I work with you, and they don't. It's like, man, I can create my own thing and do whatever I want, and I love it. I love, like you said, building that house. You could put as many doors, windows. You can have your man cave, whatever you need when you create your own. Welcome to Underdawg Talk. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today, like any other day, I have successful underdog Susana Rodriguez-Griffin. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you. You?
I'm good. I'm tired. I'm a little hungry. I ain't ate today, so
Yeah, I'm hungry too.
So once at a certain point, if I be like, hey, let's wrap this up, it's because my stomach telling me. But you are a national Golden Glove boxing champ. You took second in international ringside show and winning the Indiana's Best Female Fighter Award.
Yes, amongst others, yes.
So you got hands, basically.
I've got hands, I do, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So I ask everyone a fun fact. So what's a fun fact about yourself?
A fun fact about myself, not only do I have those hands, I am a mom of 2 kids, and I like to dance even though I don't always dance.
Okay. You know how to salsa?
I know how to salsa, yeah.
Me too.
All right,
I learned. I went to a class, but I think I just got natural dancing ability.
Okay. You might be good in the ring then. In the boxing ring, it's all about dancing and grooving.
Because I don't like getting hit in the face. I definitely don't. A fun fact about me. Since we're talking about boxing and fighting, I'm gonna say I've only lost, and it was a tie, one fight in my life. I haven't gotten a whole lot, but when I was younger, I definitely was throwing hands because I wasn't dealing with bullies. But it was a kid across the street, me and him, the tie. It was me and him, and he was swinging like, I don't want to say like a girl, but he was swinging, doing the
like
windmill,
style, okay.
And he hit me in the nose, and it got me, and I hit him in the side, and it like not knocked him out, but slowed him down. So that was the end of the fight. So I would say I've only lost or tied in one fight my whole life.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So before we get to where you're at, before we get to you winning awards and doing all this stuff, how was life like when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I moved to Indiana from Texas. And I was just reflecting on this actually this week because when we moved to Indiana, Spanish was not really something that was welcomed here in the state of Indiana. So even though we spoke English and Spanish, that's the school system in Texas, we were kind of told not to speak Spanish in school. So we almost got put into English as a second language, even though English was something we knew, in an attempt to avoid speaking Spanish in school. Now, as an adult, trying to become more involved in the Latino community, I speak Spanglish, right? I don't speak straight Spanish. And I think it probably reverts back to growing up and converting to this state and being told no Spanish here. And it kind of stunted my opportunities of development, if you will.
Yeah.
But as far as that, growing up, I had a great childhood. I don't think most people gravitate to boxing because something bad, something looking for a positive in their life. I had a lot of positive things in my life. Family was well involved, and schools are great. Besides that mention, right? But yeah, I played sports. I had decent grades, and I had a well-involved family.
I love that. Yeah. Speaking of like school and Spanish, because the school I work in, is mainly Hispanic children. So a lot of them speak, like the younger ones, I'm in elementary, they speak Spanish. So it's kind of hard, like, to translate, to talk to them, because I'm not that good. I'm learning. They're teaching me, here and there, but I'm not that good. But I can see, like, the change of what you're saying, because now they have translators. They have people that they go to in small groups to help them to be able to speak English, because a lot of them start off just Spanish, and it's hard for them, especially in kindergarten and first grade, to be trying to learn what the basics, and you don't understand what's going on. So I definitely see the change in that from when you grew up until now. So with boxing, I don't know if I'm trying to think. When I was a kid, a lot of people didn't really box, like go to, like, a boxing class, or I know a lot of people we did in our city, because I'm from Michigan City, it's up north, and it was like martial arts. That's a lot of that we did. So how did you get into boxing, especially being a girl? Because that's not really something
that's not a normal. Yeah. I got into boxing when I was in college. So the summer after my freshman year, I broke up with a boyfriend. I got my first tattoo, and I said, I'm going to the boxing gym. It was something that I was told during my freshman year, don't do, because that's just where all drug dealers and thugs hang out. That is not the case, right? But that was something that was told to me to avoid. I got into the ring, or I got into the gym, and I just liked the grind, the dedication, the consistency, the redundancy of hard work, and the dedication that's required in that hard work. And I liked getting in the ring and hitting people, right? Most of the people I sparred with and trained with were guys. And very rarely did I catch a female. When I did, I got like maybe one round, and then they were done. But yeah, that's how I started, was as an older person, probably 18 years, 19. And that was considered old. But more average for a female.
Understand. Because I think most kids start 9 or 10, maybe a little younger. But I'm just thinking of basketball and how you were saying you went against boys, because a lot of girls that are good in sports, they got to go against boys, because you don't see a gym where it's just all girls in there boxing. You don't see a basketball court where it's all girls, or whatever sport. You don't really see that. So they got to play against guys. So when they do play against the girls, so I already know when you went against them girls, that they was in trouble, because you're fighting guys.
True story.
Yeah. So when you started, was it like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is who I'm going to be, or was it just something like, I'm mad, I'm changing, let me try something different? How did that go?
Yeah, so when I first went to the gym, I just wanted something different, right? Like somewhere to release some energy. Not necessarily to like look a certain kind of way, not really to lose weight, just somewhere to punch and feel good about it. My coach was well accepting too. Anytime I had a question, he answered all my questions. He didn't treat me differently because I was a female. And so that made a huge difference, right? But yeah, like when I first started, that was my route behind jumping into the gym. I would hang out there for hours. Again, I was a sophomore in college, so I had a job that was up the street from the boxing gym. I'd go to class, and then I would go to the gym, and then I would go to work and go back to the gym. So I hung out at the boxing gym more than I did in my dorm or in my apartment at a college.
So where were you going to school for?
I went for education. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to do Spanish and English with the consideration of getting into science and history. But that's like when you go to school, right? When you go to school, then it's different, because the hardest class that I took as an undergrad was elementary math in the education department. It sounds really basic, but
it's not.
No, it's not. It's not easy at all. You have to revert all the way back to almost like a 5-year-old mentality. And then you had to explain it in a 20-year-old mentality as to how the process goes. That was a challenging class for me. So I kind of changed script, and I ended up going in for a double major of English and Spanish with the intent to then go down to Texas and go through emergency education certification, and then teach in that manner. And that's kind of the route that I converted to for my undergrad.
Got you. I'm in education. Didn't go to school for education. Didn't like education. I didn't like school at all. But I'm in school. I've been in. This is my 7th year. So I definitely understand what you're saying with like the math and all that different stuff, because I was a kindergarten teacher last year. And me being like doing podcasts and speaking and doing different stuff, if you can explain something to a 5-year-old, you can explain anything to somebody else. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was in school, to learn those different things. So you wanted to be a teacher. You didn't. Did you ever accomplish that? Did you ever become a teacher?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I went to for my undergrad. And then I continued on and got my master's degree in business and public administration. And then the point was to consider law school. Yeah, so like I had some routes that I was going through. I worked in a courthouse for a couple of years, and I saw a different aspect of law. It's kind of twisting words and manipulating them to benefit you and your client, right? Even if it's not in the true favor of the truth.
Yeah.
So I chose not to go in that route, but I've been an owner of SRG Boxing Gym for 12 years now. And so I say, technically, yeah, I did go into education because I taught people how to use their hands, how to throw punches properly, and how to become comfortably and confidently skilled in themselves in the art of boxing and then in strength training.
Got you. Yep. And sometimes you think you're going to be in a schoolhouse and you ended up teaching in the boxing ring.
Yeah.
So back to boxing. When you had your first boxing match, how did it go?
My first one, I trained for 3 months and I dominated. That was my first fight, actually at the Golden Gloves at the Tyndall Armory. Back then, women were just allowed to fight on the cards, but we weren't part of the Golden Glove tournament. Yeah. So my first fight was against an Indianapolis lady, and it looked like the cat and the mouse, but the mouse was all over the cat, and the cat couldn't catch the mouse at all. And I just killed the body, like you did your guy.
Yeah.
And the head followed,
Yeah.
and then we worked that side there too. It was great. 3 months of training, nonstop training. I won that, and I think it just kind of put my foot solid in the ground that this is what I want to keep going in for.
So after that first match, you win, you dominate. How does the next couple matches, or are you undefeated?
I'm not undefeated.
Okay. So how was your first loss? So you explain your first win. So how was your first loss?
My first loss, I can't tell you exactly what fight it was. But if I pull back, possibly, actually, I do know. My first loss was in a place of Kentucky. I want to say Whitestown, Kentucky, but it's something in that manner.
Yeah.
My coach didn't go, but a lot of that actually started the process of a lot of fights my coach wouldn't be there. And so I was the fighter and the coach and the prepper. You know, I matched up my opponents for myself. That's kind of what I still do now. But I was mad, but I was hungry. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there weren't too many losses that I took that I knew, dang, that person was a much better fighter than I was.
Yeah.
There was only one that I can remember in all these 20 years of fighting. And that female was my first international fight at the ringside, when they used to have ringside tournaments. And it was a loss to a Canadian. Mary Spencer was her name. Tall. I mean, like, this looked like I was looking at a Jack and the Beanstalk type of a transaction, right? I had maybe 20, probably like 15 fights at that time. And she had 100 and something fights.
Oh.
It ended in like 30 seconds. And not because she was dominating me per se, like on power. But in amateur boxing, it's about numbers, punches and bunches. You could throw 20 quick shots compared to somebody who's looking for a 1 or a 2 power shot. And the person who is giving me punches and bunches is a person who's going to overshadow everything else, right? Like you're on top of the game. I think the referee recognized, hey, this lady's got way more experience than this girl over here. In amateur boxing, we call that a 10-7, meaning 10, somebody's dominating, 7, that person shouldn't be in the ring with this individual. It was a sour taste in my mouth because I knew, dang, that wasn't a lot. I didn't even go through a whole round. But I also appreciate that referee pretty much saved me, right, from getting some damage. But it made me come back hungrier.
Yeah, I love what you said before you explained the fight about you having to do everything. You had to be the coach, the boxer, you set up your stuff. Because in life, in sports, in business or whatever, when you start something, you gotta do everything on your own because you want to know how it goes. You don't want to start a business or start something and you don't know how it goes, and somebody comes in and they might take your money or they might mess up your business because you don't know what to do. So I love that part of it. And yeah, shout out to the ref for that because yeah, he probably noticed like, yeah, this ain't gonna go too well.
Yeah.
Let's stop this now. So after you keep fighting, how do you get to become the Golden Gloves boxing champion? What was that process like?
I can't remember exactly what year Golden Gloves started incorporating the females. But I do know I won the Indiana State tournament, and I couldn't get any more matches. Nobody else wanted to go against me, right? But I qualified to go to a national. This was back when Golden Gloves was all men for the state, and then women went to a women's only tournament in Florida. And so it was separated like that for a while. I went out to Florida by myself again. I had Ann Wolf. She worked my corner, a bad female, right? And I won that title. When I won that title, I had a lot of outside influence that kind of like pressure bust pipes type of mentality. Yeah, the pipes were about to bust and it was through my hands, right? Yeah, I remember that last fight. I felt bad because the girl was shorter than me. I gave her everything that I had, and it had nothing to do with her. It had everything from the outside source. Yeah. She just happened to be that target.
Yeah, I love that. And so I coach 4th grade basketball, and our kid, 4th graders, I don't know what, they just so mad at the world. Like they hate to lose. They argue with Russ. And I'm like, told my son, like, dude, you have to channel that anger in the right way on the court and not get so upset or yell or get mad at somebody, but channel it in your game. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. That's that dog in you. Like, oh, okay, oh, you talking shit? You, okay, I got you. Or life's going on and hey, I'm sorry, you just so happen to be here and I get to throw my hands and knock you out. It just happens that way. So I love that part about it. So after you won, what was that feeling like to get, because it's steps. It's not like you just win here. You got to win here, go there, and then you actually at the event and then actually winning it. What was that feeling like?
When I won that one, before I won that championship belt, there was a gift shop at the hotel that this was being held at. There was this ring. I said, okay, I'm going to buy that ring. First, I got to win this belt. And as soon as I win this, then I'm coming. So I set this this mantra up, right? I created the plan. I worked the plan. And then I went and I served myself with that ring. The belt was great. Again, having Ann Wolf work my corner, she spoke exactly how everybody has a certain lingo that they understand and digest, right? For me, Ann Wolf, she speaks straight to it. Go in there and F this female up, give her everything you got. A lot of words that I digest properly, and I can then serve it out just as well as she said it. But that was probably the best feeling, right? I'm still trying to find somebody like that who can replicate that entity of myself on that side as a coach. Hasn't happened yet, but I've got some good coaches still in my corner.
That's good. That's good. And that's good to have a good coach and to be and for her to understand how to talk to you so you can go in there. Because I think me being a basketball coach, I learned this early. Everybody's not the same. So you can't, some players, me and them can go at it. And they understand it. I yell at one, they shut down, it's over with for them. So that's good that she understood how to do that. So that was cool that you was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this after I win. And I don't know, I'm superstitious when it comes to basketball, like coaching wise. I'm like, okay, I won the last championship. Did I have a hat on? What color was I wearing? What shoes? Like that's the type.
Got it.
Yeah, like I have to make sure that my mind's right before we go into a game. Because I can't play. I can't channel me inside of them. So it's nerve-wracking as a coach to go out there. No, you prepared your team, but then to go out there and watch them. So I know you feel that same way. Yeah. Now coaching,
my
coaching
fighters.
your fighters.
And I don't have like same. I don't wear a certain kind of socks or like put my headgear on a certain way when I was doing amateur. But I do one thing definitely. I talk straight into a mirror. I set it up in my mind before I step into the ring. But before I go to the fight, I always talk directly to myself in the mirror. Everything I'm gonna do, what my game plan is, almost coaching myself to myself. Yeah. Before I step into the arena, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm that way too. Like when I go and play, I'm talking to myself. I'm like, all right, this, get yourself geared up, because if you can't get yourself geared up, nobody else can get you geared
it's
up.
all
But
inside.
like if I miss a shot or if something happens, it's like I'm talking to myself to get myself back in order rather than yelling at somebody else or channeling it another way. So, who are your top 3 female boxers of all time and your top 3 men boxers of all time?
Okay, so myself, I always put number 1 in the mix. Ann Wolfe, she is, like I said, that was an honor to have her work my corner. Yeah. But I always have admired her. A lot of people don't dig her too much because she's one of the females who actually stepped to the men, right? Kind of like what you see Clarissa Shields doing. Yeah. Still respect to it, because at the end of the day, I understand what it is. Yep. Not everybody wants to get in that ring with you. So if you as a female don't want it, let me go to a guy who I know is going to take it. Yeah. It's a little different when it comes to pro fight and what's legally sound, right? Yeah. But I would say myself and Ann Wolfe. And then I also really have a lot of other fighters that I admire their style. Melissa Hernandez, she's out of New York and Miami. I like her flow. I like how she dances in the ring. Heather Hardy, I like her dedication to herself and just the fight game overall. Clarissa Shields, I have a lot of respect and props to her because she knows who she is, and she's not afraid to talk about it. Yeah,
I love her because she knows she that one, and it's like, what you gonna do about it? You gonna have to whoop me in the ring if you want me to shut up. So I love her too. Yeah. So what about the guys? Top 3.
Roberto Duran, he's probably one of my favorites. The Hands of Steel, right? The Hands of Stone. I also like Julio Cesar Chavez. And if I had to pick one more, I know there are a lot of greats, but I'm going to say Mike Tyson. Even to what's going on, he's still probably one of my favorites.
So, question, who you think going to win that fight?
I hope Tyson remembers who he is and he comes out. I know that there's a setup. I know that there's a contract of a plan, but everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And I hope he remembers who he is and he comes out and he demolishes like the beast he is. Yeah. No matter what the age. The age doesn't matter. No. A lot of people are talking down on him because of that, but age doesn't matter as long as you got that dog mentality still in your heart and in your soul. It's going to be there.
Yeah, because I've seen his training videos. I ain't jumping in the ring with Mike Tyson at 56. Like, he still got it. So, yeah, like you said, I'm sure it's some type of contract. I hope it's not the old same as the other ones where he keeps, because Jake can fight. I give him that. They
He's
can fight.
getting better.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's not a scrub. He's not somebody that's like, oh, he's gonna get in the ring and you just gonna whoop him. I've watched like one or two of his fights, so I give him that. But that's Mike Tyson. Like you said, if Mike remembers that you Iron Mike, it might be over real early, back in the day. So I don't know too many female boxers. I know Clarissa. I know Layla Ali. I've heard of the lady you said, Amy Wolf. But those Ann Wolf, sorry.
You got to Google her. Ann Wolf.
Yeah, I've heard of the name before, though.
One thing I didn't say was Amanda Serrano. And she is probably, she is the most actively influential female boxers of this current time frame. And I say it like that because everybody knows who Layla Ali is. But she had her dad as her assistants on that podium, right? Whereas Amanda Serrano, actually, I feel is the root as to why Jake Paul is in the level he is in right now. He played a smart business move in finding the proper female, because females aren't always, we're not always in a position of, not influence, but of exposure, right?
Yep.
So she still is a female. She has like 7 titles in 7 different fights, in 7 different weight classes.
Golly.
Yeah. So he found that diamond that's been sitting here for a minute.
Yeah.
And he knew that she had hands, and she has it. She looks great. She moves great. Everything. He used her to kind of help himself in his goal.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the business aspect, right?
Yeah.
We can't do everything that we want to do all of the time. Sometimes you got to outsource, and sometimes you have to partnership.
Yeah.
And understanding when you have to apply those different maneuvers and different positions helps you go to the next level. You can't always be so focused that I can do it all. I get it. Sometimes I try to do that too.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that you have to start incorporating other people in order to go to the next level. That's what he did with Amanda Serrano.
Yeah. Yeah. He definitely business. Like, at first it's like, who is Jake Paul? YouTuber? Oh, okay. And then he's definitely got the right team to get him to where he wants, because he's making millions of dollars and he's making other people millions. So my top 3 males, Roy Jones Jr.
Yes.
He just was flashy, and then he has the same last name as me, so I always used to say he was my uncle.
Okay.
But him, I would gotta say, I gotta throw Floyd in there, just because I watched one of my close friends had bought like a Floyd, like all his fights, and we would watch them.
Like
and
a compilation video, yeah.
And it was like, he really, like, as he got older, he was defensive, but when he was younger, he had hands. I'm gonna say Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just the underdog story, I think I just like that part of it. So I would say them.
So the actor part.
Yeah.
The actor fighter. Okay.
But there's a real Rocky, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not based off the same, but yeah, the boxer Rocky, like the movie, the whole underdog.
You like the lessons of the movie.
Yeah, because he didn't have nothing. It was like, if you don't win this fight, I mean, it don't matter to nobody else but you still got to go out there and fight that fight.
Right. Yeah.
So you got the boxing, you're winning awards, and so you started a business. How does that go?
So I started my business almost 12 years ago now, right? And I did that because when I first started boxing, my coach, Danny Thomas, down in Evansville, he owns Rock'em Sock'em Boxing. Mm-hmm. He taught me everything about the fight game. Like I said, just because I'm a female, he didn't treat me differently and kind of push me off to the side, right?
Got you.
And I've always been a person who asks questions.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in 6th grade, I remember a teacher said, there's no bad question or silly question except for the one you don't ask. Mm-hmm. So I was first to always ask the questions, right? But Coach taught me everything about the fight game. in the ring, he also taught me about the business side on training and how important that is if you're going to have a business. If you're going to have a boxing gym, you can't just have fighters coming in. There's also got to be clients, right?
Yeah.
People who want to box for the fun of it or for the fitness aspect of it, not necessarily to compete. So he taught me that. And then I opened up my own location after having been a personal trainer at Gold's Gym here in Indianapolis, and a couple of other little studios. But yeah, so we are at 5346 West 79th Street, and we've been there for, like I said, almost 12 years now. I've trained so many people. I don't write it down. Like, I don't know how many people I've seen, but it's cool to see the people that I have trained from outside, into schools, to different programs, to people coming to my gym themselves, the different facets in which they've applied their boxing training into their own lives, whether that means competing in the ring or building their own business or raising their family, right? Boxing goes outside of the ring.
I love that. So did you get, when you first started, you had your place, did you get any pushback for being a female boxer or a female trainer?
Not pushback per se, but maybe, I don't know. I like to say I don't know if I have any haters because I don't ever pay attention. Like, it's just not, I'm always focused on something different, right? But it is funny, if you want to use that word, when people come to my gym and they automatically go to my husband. They think he is the coach for boxing. And he's like, oh, no, that's my wife over there, Suzana. Sometimes I get that weird look until they train, and then they understand, okay, some respect is coming through now, right?
Yeah.
But as far as the boxing community, people who have already been versed in the game know who I am. I'm a coach. I'm a boxer. I'm an official, I'm a referee, a judge, and now I'm a promoter.
Yeah, I love that. I get the same kind of thing when kids or people with basketball, because they'll come up and they'll be like, oh, he the coach? Yeah, I'm the coach. And I'm in coach mode, so I'm talking, come on, get on. And then they look in and they trying to see, and then it'll be some kids, oh, let's play one-on-one. Okay, if that's what you want to do, if you want to lose. But I get that a little bit sometimes because they looking at me like, do he really know how to play basketball? Yeah, I know how to play. My coaching resume is pretty good. So, I mean, if you don't want to win, you can go somewhere else. That's how I look at it. Like, don't look at the outside appearance. I'm teaching you something. That's all mental. Like, you got to understand it that way, because kids will look at, oh, a name of somebody, or, oh, let's go to this team, or let's go here because of whatever, but you're not learning nothing. And you got to be able to learn the basics of whatever you're doing. So what's the oldest you trained someone and the youngest you've trained someone?
The youngest, I would say, are my kids, right? My kids grew up in the boxing gym. But besides my kids, a 4-year-old is who I do family boxing with, meaning they train with their parents side by side and developing in that manner, making it fun, because most kids at that age only have like a 30-minute attention span and then they're done, more like 20.
Yeah.
And then my oldest client has been 95.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've had people from, having had strokes, not being able to walk, to now starting to move better. Age, like I said, age is only a number if you allow it in your mind to set you apart in that manner, in a negative, right?
Yeah.
There's no negative on an age.
Yeah, that's true. So just thinking, the 95-year-old, were they moving, moving like a 95-year-old, but were they like going?
Yeah, we just won't, like, I'm not going to have them hit me with pull-ups,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But resistant band training, even just what you would maybe call like a silver sneaker in a different degree. Yeah.
I love that, because when I see, I ain't gonna say older, more seasoned people out working out and doing stuff, that makes me feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. When my dad, I think maybe a few years ago, he ran a marathon, and I was like, bro, you almost 60 years old and you running a marathon.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
can't run a mile, so I need to, it's kind of motivation for me. So just hearing that person being 95 and being able to get in the ring and training and just, being active, because I think a lot of times people, as they get older, like be in their 40s and 50s. Oh, I'm old. No, you're not old.
Yeah,
you just
you're
ain't
not
doing
old.
nothing.
Yeah,
You just sitting
exactly,
around. You got to get
exactly.
active. You got to move if you want to move. You can't just stay still and think that, as your body is getting older, it's going to be the same. It's not, because, when you turn, I'm still in my 30s, and I'll be 40 in a couple years. But when I turned like 31, it was like, hold on, wait a minute. Why my body acting like this? Why, like, I had a acid reflux, and I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought it was over with. I thought it was the big one. I thought it was. So me understanding that in my 20s, I didn't prepare for my 30s. So now in my 30s, I have to prepare for my 40s.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be the dad that's old and can't go out there and hoop with my son, because he'll be 10 in actually less than a month. So I got at least about 10 more years before I feel like he can beat me. So you got to stay active. So with your training, what are some of the things that you help people on? Like, what are some of the things that they do if someone was to come and train with you? And they don't want to be a boxer. They just want to, just get active. Maybe, work on cardio, because, cardio and boxing is crazy.
Yes. So not everybody wants to actually put gloves on when they come to my gym.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just want to do strength training. Mm-hmm. Some people just want overall fitness, mobility, conditioning, right?
Yep.
Just what you just explained, playing with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Something basic.
Yeah.
Sometimes they start off in boxing and decide, this is not my flavor. I don't like my hands punching a bag or punching pads. And they gravitate to strength training only. And some people blend the two together. And so it really just depends on the individual, the client that I have. So which one do you want me to give you an example of?
Strength training, because when I think of strength training, I think of working out, like lifting weights, doing all those things, but I know it's different in boxing. So strength training. Yeah,
so when it comes to strength, I try to apply a lot of unilateral type of work, right? Mm-hmm. We have the left and right brain hemisphere, and sometimes you don't really realize, oh man, I'm really bad holding a single leg on this one side, trying to hit a bicep curl with the mix or a shoulder press in with it. You'll find a lot of times people don't know that balance in their bodies.
Yeah.
So incorporating that, definitely, it's not just about hitting a machine and 20 reps and move on to the next one. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we'll work on pyramid schemes. Maybe we'll work on drop sets. Maybe work heavy on one day, lighter on another. It really depends on that individual.
Okay. So is it weightlifting, a lot of weightlifting, or is it...
For boxing?
Yeah.
It depends on who you talk to. So I like to lift. But there are some days that I have to make, like leg day, for example. I won't hit legs. I try not to. The day before, I'm going to work sparring, or if I got to really be on point with my coach, right? So I put my strength accordingly for that. But I also don't do lightweight, like most people consider a boxing calisthenics. I think it's important to blend the two, and you'll see that a lot now. More boxers now are becoming more aware of the benefit of strength training and its applications to the fight game. Okay.
So what are some cardio conditioning and that cardio conditioning? Because I remember I was in college, and there was a little guy, he was from another town, and he came a year later. So I was like the little homie for their crew, and he came, and he always had animosity. So they was like, put on the boxing gloves. And I'm like, cool. And I know I don't have a long reach. He has a long reach. We're like the same height, but I ended up winning because I was smart. I'm like, I'm not going towards you. You got to come towards me. And when you come towards me, if I'm able to touch you, it's a problem for you. It's not going to be just easy. So I ended up winning. Nobody knocked nobody out. But afterwards, I think we did maybe 2-minute rounds. It was 3 rounds. I was throwing up. I couldn't even walk. I called my girlfriend at the time. I was like, yeah, I'm on my way, but I'm going to be a minute because I just got done boxing. So what are some training with the cardio that you help people with? Because that's, if you don't have cardio, you might want to sit down, because you get hit once or twice in your body, it's over with.
So for my fighters and for myself, 1 mile for every round you fight should be on your routine base. As an amateur, it's 3 rounds, right?
Yeah.
So that means 3-mile runs should be a steady, easy money for you. And that's not one time a week. That's a couple of times, if not daily, right? So that's just, if you want to call it first base, that's first base. That doesn't include jump rope, ring work, shadow boxing, heavy bag. And those are just the fundamentals, right? Now then we talk about mitt work and sparring. And then your strength training mixes. And then the whole behind it all is, what are you eating? Because if you're eating poorly, you can't do any of this other stuff well.
So I'm going to say I probably eat poorly because I'm skinny fat and I like food. So what are a few things that I'm asking this for myself, that you can eat to kind of cleanse your eating? Because I eat any and everything. I'm not a fruit and vegetable kind of guy. The fruits, I don't like the texture. I didn't understand that when I was younger, but growing up, like watermelon, grapes, certain things, the texture of it, I just don't like it. So I don't really fruit. Only thing I like of fruit is pineapples.
Okay.
So what are some like little things that I can maybe add to my diet?
So I would tell you, if it's the texture that you don't like, then change the game. Maybe drink it, right? If the drinking part, you can take it, then that's the hit you need to look at it in. Not everybody likes fresh food, like fresh fruits and veggies, right?
Yeah.
But hitting it frozen, now it's changed the game. Or drinking the source with it in a smoothie, then throwing some protein powder in the mix. Now you got like a milkshake transaction, right? But protein is a big thing. Protein is what's going to help you utilize that power, right? Your carbs are your energy, so picking those properly. I don't know what you eat, but I'm going to say something more. If you can find it in the earth, it's going to be the better, most basic ingredient, so your body can process it. If you're eating on the outside of the store, if you're eating on the inside of the store, in the middle, in the shelves, think about how long those foods have been sitting on that shelf. And imagine how long it's going to sit in your stomach trying to digest it and eliminate it, or digest it and retain it off to the side because it doesn't know what to do with it yet, right? So the cleaner it is, if I can pull it from the earth, if I can set it on the shelf and it's going to get nasty in a few days, that's probably what you want to be consuming. Gotcha. If it's on the other side, then you know what it is.
Yeah. So I'm going to just have to do more smoothies because, I don't know. I think I got the smoothie maker. I was doing that. I was doing strawberry, banana, kale, something else, and some milk. And I was doing it, but I got out of it. So one more question in that. How, as a skinny person, can you gain weight? Because I've been this size, I've been skinny forever and ever and ever. And the only time the biggest I've ever been in my life was 150 pounds. Not saying I want to be big, but just how do you put on weight where it ain't the flab in the stomach?
I'm going to tell you, lift heavy, eat proper, and come see Darnell at SRG Boxing Gym at 5346 West 79th, and Darnell will help you out with that. Got you.
I appreciate it because I've always, they always have commercials. They have everything for you to lose weight. They never really have stuff for people to gain weight. I never wanted to be a big bulky. That's why I don't really work out. I don't want to be, I like my skinny, but I want to have some type of muscle or definition to me. I see people getting in their 40s and 50s and they be out here cutting. I want to, be one of them.
Well, remember, the more muscle you have, the more calories you can burn just sitting doing nothing. Kind of like in business. If you can make money sitting back and chilling, then that's the easiest money, right? It's the same thing with your muscle in your body. So even if you don't want to be like bulked up, you do need to sustain some muscle mass because that's what's going to help you live longer in the goals that you're trying to achieve, moving around with your kids and being here your best life, you know?
Yeah.
So it's important for everybody.
Yeah, I definitely got to take my health more serious. I work out like with the kids at practice. My eating is so horrible. Like, I got to get my health together.
Yeah,
That's
be an example.
Yeah, cause it's funny. I was in the mirror the other day, and something came to my mind. I was like, man, I be telling my son to do his sit-ups and push-ups, and I don't do mine. So I can't expect him or get mad at him if he's not. And I told myself that I was gonna do at least 100 here, 100 there, and I'm not doing it. So it just makes me look at myself like, hey, if you want him to do that, even if he don't see you, you could be like, hey, I did my push-ups, I did my sit-ups today.
And chop them up how you need to, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you do a quarter in the morning and a quarter at lunchtime after you've eaten, and then the rest is for the evening.
Yeah, I was doing a 10,000 crunch challenge. Like, I haven't done it since last year, but once I was on it, and when them days get to 500-600, it was easy because, like you said, I chopped it up in the morning. I did this and I did that, and it just was easy. But I don't know. I've been slacking. But do you still box?
Yeah, I'm about to fight on my card. Wow. So I started a promotion company, Jefa Promotions, which means female boss, right? And I started that because it was hard to convert as a pro fighter, as a pro female fighter, and getting promoters to put me on the card. Even with all of my accolades, I'm still a female. And so if you knock on the doors and nobody's opening the doors that you're knocking on, if you think about it and you're capable of doing it, build your own house. Yeah. Put all the doors you want, open them up and help other people. So May 11th, I'll be doing my pro fight here in Indianapolis.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna have to. That's
a Saturday.
Depending on what I do for my birthday or where I go, because my birthday's May 7th, so I don't know if I'm doing something before or after. But I definitely would love to see you fight. And I love what you just said. That's why I created my own podcast, because everybody don't want to work with you, or they don't see the value in you, and they telling you no, or nah, I'm good, or oh yeah, I work with you, and they don't. It's like, man, I can create my own thing and do whatever I want, and I love it. I love, like you said, building that house. You could put as many doors, windows. You can have your man cave, whatever you need when you create your own. And when you create your own, it's not gonna be easy. I'm sure you still go through business issues and all different kinds of stuff with clients and different people just from having a business. So have you ever had to, no, I don't want to ask that, because you might tell on yourself if you actually did.
So I will say this. I still own SRG Boxing Gym, right? But opening and creating Jefa Promotions is a bigger landscape, right? It's not just about me. It's about a whole bunch of other individuals that are fighting on that card. So I have, and I'm very thankful, I have a great committee of people who have fought for me on my team before, who have personal trained with me, and I call them friends. They're part of my unit, my tribe, right? And they all have skills that I don't have. I'm not very good at the media marketing, the designs, right? The financial aspects of knowing XYZs, the community networking, all the food. All of these are things that my committee is very good at. And the route that we're going in definitely could not have been as successful as it is right now without them. So you have to know what is your game plan, and knowing that you can't do it all, knowing who is the right people to put in your group. And it's a whole team transaction. It's just not me. You see me, but it's not just me.
Yeah, I'm want to be at that point where they see me, but they don't. It's the people behind me. So how did you go about picking them? Was it like you had some other people, they dropped off, or have these been the same people since they've joined with you?
these people were the people I had already in my mind when I decided to create this promotion company. This promotion company has been in my phone. I texted the name and everything, I think back in 2020. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do when it's time. And fear is a real issue, right? Like, fear is real if you allow it to be a blockade in your life. And I really should have been pro a long time ago. But in January 1st, I said I'm jumping. I'm going in. I'm creating my own promotion company. I'm fighting on my card. This is the crew that I'm putting in. I asked all of them if they would join me. Are you good on May 11th? If you are, everybody said yes. Bam, we're doing it. Because without them, I can't do it.
I love that. So how many other cards are on? I mean,
we have 8 pro fighters on the card, including myself. And then it's a pro-am. So I have 3 amateur fighters. 2 of those 3 are going to be female fighters because that is the forefront in this promotion company is being great together, but providing an opportunity for women in this male-dominated sport to have a platform to compete on.
I love that. So have you trained anybody that's made it to the pros?
Yeah. So remember when I said there was a school, an after-school program that I had trained these kids in. And one of those kids, Taj Henderson, he's a local Indianapolis fighter. I don't know Taj's record, but yeah, I remember he actually wasn't even part of the program. He was the baby brother to the other 2 that were in the program, and he was sitting on the bleachers on the sidelines. But I could see he really wanted to learn. So I told him to jump in. We had to get permission that the teacher was okay with that, and since I wasn't going to charge it, it was all good, right? And now he's a pro fighter. I think that's really cool. Had I said, I'm not making any money, you sit down.
Yeah.
Then that opportunity of like really trying something wouldn't have been there, right?
Yep.
So sometimes, well, we all have a hand of influence. It can be a great thing and it can be a negative thing. It's really up to you on how you utilize that. But a lot of times I think there are a lot of great champion people in all kinds of sports. They just never had the opportunity to try it.
Yep, you're so right. That's like with coaching. Like you might get a person that comes to the team and they're not that great, and it's like, okay, we kind of got a good team, but we're not gonna tell you can't be a part of the team. We're gonna work with you. We're gonna help you because we feel like if you learn those basics and you seeing everybody else and you seeing, oh, they improving, you're going to want to improve because you ain't going to want to keep sitting on that bench.
Yeah.
You ain't going to want to be the cheerleader, oh, good job, team. So it's like, like you said, if you turned him down, who knows what he would have done. And that's how I feel like, hey, if you don't know basketball, we can be patient, we can teach you, and you can eventually, be a part of the team and be able to play in games because there's kids all the time that come up and they'd be like, ooh, Lord, we got some work to do. But it's like, let's do the work. And with our kids, we we have a great team, but all of them aren't basketball players. They're football. So they're transitioning to another sport, but now they're liking it. And it's like, okay, let's build them. Let's show them the fundamentals. Because it's weird because a lot of youth sports is like all about talent. Like, oh, you got talent already. Come on, you can be on my team. It's like, you never know because that person got talent now. They might not have talent the next 2-3 years, or they might not play this sport, or they might be the same height that they are right now and they don't get any better. But giving kids opportunity that helps them. Even if he didn't turn into boxing, a pro boxer, he still helped him because he was there with his brothers. He was watching. He's like, okay, now I can get in. Now I can show them what I can do. So I love that. And that's an amazing story that, like you said, you could have been like, nah, I'm good. You just stay over there, little brother. And who knows where he's at. So I love that. So do your kids box? Like, are they boxing like, all right, I want to be like mom, or are they just boxing because that's the environment that they're around?
Yeah, so both of my kids, they had to learn boxing, right? My daughter doesn't really like it too much, but she's pretty good. My son actually competes in boxing. He does wrestling, he does football, he does track. and boxing is something that he's really good at. I spar with my son. He's 13. He can crack. He's got hands. He's fast. He's tall. He's long. But it's one of those fun, fine lines, right? Because sometimes he'll throw a shot. I'm like, dang, I felt it, but I can't go too hard back on him because he's still my baby boy, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of got to eat some and just give him a little something, just enough to recognize what time it is, right?
Yeah, let him know. I'm still mom.
Yeah.
Sit down somewhere before you really get it.
But it's really cool, keeping it real. It's really fun that I can spar with my son, that he can help me in my fight skills and my game, and vice versa.
Yeah.
That's something that, like, I don't know any other mom really who can do that with her kid, right?
Yeah, that I was just about to say that. Like, you're not really hearing a mom say, "Oh, I'm sparring with my son," or "Come on, son, let's go to the boxing gym."
Yeah, like there's those shirts that say, "Boxing mom."
Yeah,
I'm a different kind of boxing mom. I'm the one that's in the box with him. I'm not the sidelines one.
Yeah, and I love that because, like you said, you gotta kind of let him, let him feel himself a little bit, because you don't want to go into like, I really couldn't, and I could really sit you down, but I love that you guys go, and I can tell by the smile on your face, like that's how it is with basketball with my son, like being able to coach him and just seeing him learn, and him sometimes he don't listen to me. He'll listen to another coach, but I don't know. He don't listen to dad all the time. But just going out there and him winning championships and having good games, it's like I go back to old videos and I'd be like tearing up a little bit just watching them, because you remember when they were little, and now it's like, man, they really getting older, and that's just a good thing to watch your kids and to be there, do the process of it. Not just, some parents are just dropping kids off at practice or whatever, but to actually be there and get to see the process makes it even more rewarding, because at the end goal, you'll be like, I remember you when you first started, it was looking a little shaky, but now you're where you at. So I love that for you. So what does a normal day look like for you?
A normal day for me, I wake up and I hit the treadmill for my run. It feels awkward if I don't hit it like that, right? So 3 to 4 miles, depending on what my time is. If I got it, I'll do 5, but that's about what I roll with. Then I'm hurrying up to get ready to go to the gym and train clients. I'll train clients, and then somewhere in between there, I'll grab a bite to eat, if I bring my food. Otherwise, it's a quick shake. Then round 2 of my workouts. Back to training a couple more people, going to pick up my kids from school, going back to the gym to train, dinner, 3rd workout, done.
And what time do you wrap up?
I try to stop at the gym at 8 o'clock.
When do you start?
For me, that's my stop. Depends on the day. I'll do virtual training. I still do virtual training at 6 in the morning. And if it's on site, 8 o'clock is my earliest.
So you all day, every day. Is that Monday through Friday or Sunday through Sunday?
Like we worked out before we came here, right? So it's an everyday.
Everyday thing. Yep. How long, so you work out 2-3 times a day personally?
Yeah.
How hour, 30 minutes here and there, or is it?
It's not really about time. It's about getting it in. So, for example, running today, I ran 3 miles. And then we sparred for about an hour, and then we strength trained right afterwards for an hour. So you got all that money right there. Today was a Sunday.
Ooh,
yeah.
You got it
but,
in.
Yeah.
You make me. I didn't do nothing today. I went to basketball. We had like a little tryout scrimmage thing, and I was at home in the bed, and you didn't. Yeah.
I got all that in while you were chilling.
Yeah, while I was chilling. I'm gonna have to use my gym at my apartments. I still haven't used, it's literally walking, it's right behind where I stay, and I haven't went over there. I'm gonna need to go over there because I don't like that you just did all that and I haven't done nothing.
So we got a gym in our house, right? And we got a gym that we own.
So do you have a bed in any one of them gyms just to sleep, roll over, and just go work out?
No, not at the gym, right?
Yeah.
Pull out some mats if you need to take a quick nap. Depends on the season. Everybody's got a time and a place for everything, right? So, there's some times where I need a quick nap, and I might hit a mat upstairs in the little storage room, the toy room we call it. or maybe take a quick nap at carpool lane in my car when I'm waiting for my kids to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where you get sleep at. Because you just, So you're active all the time. What do you do for fun? Like, what do you do outside of...
dance in the ring with my hands. Boxing. That's fun. Sometimes we go out. We don't go out too often. Like... For a hot second, I did the Cricut thing.
What's that?
It's like where you print stuff and you make...
Oh, shirts,
Yeah, but then you had to like pick it.
Yeah.
And, oh, man. I'm done. This is not... I don't chill very well. Like, patience isn't something that is a strong virtue. I'm getting better at it, like when it comes to boxing, right?
Yeah.
Patience, chill, double jab, move. But, like, sitting at home... Nah, I always got to do something.
Yeah, I see that. She said boxing, and boxing. That's it.
Yeah, that's like life.
I love that, though, because when you're doing something, you have to live in what you're doing. That's who you become. And it's not that you're just a boxer, you're a trainer, you're a coach, you're helping. You're not just working on yourself, but you're helping others. And a lot of times people do stuff and they don't become a lifestyle. It doesn't become what they do, and then they're wondering why the results aren't there or whatever. Like when I first started the podcast, my friend, oh yeah, you doing your little podcast? Then they realized, oh, he records every Thursday. Like, don't call me, don't try to come over my house, none of that. This is what I do. Now, I might be here every day, like in the studio, just doing different stuff, learning different stuff, because I want to have that where, like you, I wake up, I need to go. If I don't go to the studio, if I don't do something, then that messes up my day. And I think a lot of people don't have that in them, in their daily life or in their business, where if you don't do something towards your goal or who you want to become, then you should feel like, oh, it was a horrible day. Like, I didn't do what I was supposed to. Like, in the morning, I have some prayers and I have affirmations. The affirmations are on the mirror in my bathroom. So if I don't do those, I feel like my day is all messed up. And I look at myself like, why didn't you do it? You got on your phone and you scrolled for a second, but so why you didn't do those? And so I want to be like that, where I want to go, that's why you're successful in what you're doing, because that's what you do. So I love that.
And sometimes, like, if I want to watch TV, I'll turn Netflix on and I'm on the treadmill, right? So that's how I get it in. And then when I'm done on the tread, I push pause. It's done until I come back and I get it in again. Yeah. Right?
I love that. Do you watch TV?
Yeah, sometimes. It's usually, like I said, when I'm multitasking a lot of stuff.
What's your favorite show that you would say that you watch?
I watch crazy. I watch shows, again, just to occupy my mind. This is a fun fact, weird fact, but sometime here in the past 2 months, I watched this movie. I'm a mom of two, right? I've never seen this before. I can't tell you what it's called because I didn't pay attention like that. But it was a mom in giving birth while I'm running sprints uphill on my treadmill. You can remember, as a mom having given birth, I remember that challenge, right? A mom can do anything, and we go hard. We hustle. We push everything we've got in a lot of different things. That was a good motivation. That was kind of a weird thing to work out to. But I just watch miscellaneous stuff, and sometimes I'm not even watching it. Yeah. It's just there to occupy my eyes while I'm listening to music and I'm running and I'm thinking about the next step in either a workout or what I'm going to do with the promotion company. So I do a lot of different stuff. But a show, I don't know. Boxing.
I feel you.
Watching some fights. Yeah, watching myself. I like to study myself. So when I work with my coach, I'll record, and then I'm playing back that video while I'm running, and I can see, oh man, I need to fix this, or that was a great combination. And I put it in my head and my mental so I can play it back. And I'm kind of digesting the tempo.
Yeah. A lot of people miss that. Like, you got to watch film on yourself.
Yes. Like, it's very important. Not every time are you going to be great, but you got to be your best critic and your best supporter. Yeah. And you can only do that if you allow yourself to judge yourself.
Yeah. Like, I hate it when I first started, to hear my voice or watch videos. But now it's like, okay, let me watch it to see what I need to do, or maybe questions, or like when I'm asking questions or I'm doing it, a lot of thoughts come in my brain of how I can fix or do something, but then it's like it'll go away. So after the show, I always go back and watch to see how I can better, or even as a coach, I always film. Sometimes I don't film when they do good stuff, and I show them like, hey, you missed this pass or you missed that, so they can see what we're talking about, so they don't think we just talking out our butts. But you have to watch film on yourself, and you have to watch film on others if you want to be great in whatever it is you do. Because if you can't see your mistakes or see your weaknesses, how are you going to fix them?
That's true.
And a lot of people don't understand. A lot of the greats watch film. They have to watch film. Like LeBron has one of the craziest memories because he remembers plays and all these different things because he's paying attention. He's aware, and he can go back to the film and be like, oh, yep, I remember that. I remember when I did that, because you have to be in tune to what you're doing. So I always ask my guests to give 3 tips. So give people 3 tips on starting boxing. If somebody before they start boxing, what are 3 tips that they would do to maybe be more intrigued and to come in and sparring or training or whatever with you?
With me, training or sparring? Which one are we talking about?
We're gonna say training.
I think I'm
gonna say training, because a lot of people might come and they don't want to be boxers, but they want that training. So what are some things that they can do maybe at home before they come to you?
So one thing I say for people, period, leave your ego at the door, right? You got to be a student. You got to allow yourself to learn something new in a manner in which you've never learned before. So be a great student. 2, listen. I can tell you everything under the sun, but if you're not capturing the word, then it's null and void, and then we're back to square one, right? But number 3 is eat right, stay hydrated, and come in prepared. Come in prepared to perform well. If you are not prepared in your food and your sleep and your water intake, then you're not going to be very successful. And there's some good days and there's some bad days, but set yourself up right. For you, you do your affirmations in the morning, right? For me, I listen to good word while I'm running at the same time. That's my preparation for my day. If I don't get it in, it's hard I have to take care of me before I can take care of you.
Yep.
So those are my 3 words for that. When it comes to business, I think my 3 words of advice is know who you are, right? I tell that to my fighters. Know who you are. Know what you're good at, and be willing to grow and learn the next step. Because there's levels to everything. And you can't expect, like my dad used to say when I wanted a car, right? You can't get that 300. Don't expect a 300. You just got your license. You're driving around in that Geo first, right? Start in the Geo, and then you level yourself up from there.
Yeah.
But there's levels in everything in life, in the boxing game, in strength training, in school, and in business.
Yeah, it definitely levels. That's funny because my daughter, she got her first car, and she just went and got a car, and I was like, why you didn't take me or anything? Like, she just wanted a car just to say that she went and got a car, so that made me think of her. So I need an underdog quote. It could be your quote, it could be a quote you live by, but I need a quote.
So my motto at SRG Boxing is inspire passion and attract success, right? So we start off first interested in something, then we decide we like it a little bit. And once you like it, then you develop it a little bit more and you love it. But when you surpass that love, it becomes passion, and it's inside and outside. And once you've developed that and you're at that position in life in anything, you, in my opinion, have succeeded.
I love that. So do your promotion. Tell people how they can reach you, what you got going on.
So we have round 1, which is La Jefa Promotions' first show. It is going to be held May 11th at the Tyndall Armory. The doors open at 6 p.m. and the fights start at 7 p.m. We have 3 undercard or starting fights amateur fighters. 2 of those 3 will be women. And then we have 8 professional fighters fighting here in Indianapolis. You can buy tickets at this QR code or at La Jefa, LAJEFA, probox.com. You can buy general admission tickets, VIP, or you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, and we can help you out with some VIP tables.
How can they find you on Instagram or Facebook?
Susana Rodriguez-Griffin. You can also look at Latina Style. That's my fight name. The gym, SRG Boxing and Personal Training. And Instagram is at SRG Box Gym.
I love it. I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate what you do, because a lot of times people just do stuff for themselves, but you do stuff to help others. You do teach others and to help people have a better, healthy life, because working out and cardio training, whichever one they're doing, they're helping themselves. So I appreciate what you do. Yeah. I love that. Like, I didn't realize, like, I looked and then I noticed, I was like, oh, she really put in work. Like, she knocking folks out. So I love that, like, having different.
And I'm still doing it.
Yeah. I had the only other, I had a boxer on, he was a bare knuckle boxer. And I'm like, yeah, that seemed like that's a little crazy.
I just sparred with a bare knuckle fighter today. My coach says, does she not know that we actually moved from bare knuckles to gloves on? That's boxing, right? Boxing has evolved into that sport. But yeah, bare knuckle is something different.
Yeah, because I seen some of his fights and I just was like, why are we just, you might as well just be out in the street and just have a fight.
It's kind of like that, yeah. You just put some, you're either wearing blue or you're wearing red tape.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So I'm glad you were the first female boxer, and I love that your journey and what you've done and how you're helping, and I love that you started your own promotions. So within the next couple of years, we're gonna hear about it. We're gonna see it on Showtime and all the different spots that they have the boxing. So, and I love that it made me more aware of women boxing. Now I'm going to, like, I'm sitting here like, man, I haven't really heard of it. Only person I know is Clarissa, and that's the only person I see fight. So I'm gonna go and see.
Yeah, it's about representation, right? You don't hear a lot of women boxers because you don't see a lot of women boxers. Yeah. As far as in a public outlet. Yeah. So La Jefa Promotions, you're gonna start seeing them more often. Yeah. You're gonna start hearing them more often here in Indiana. And now you got Indiana's first Latina professional fighter right here. And you'll see me a lot more.
I love it. I love it. So before we get out of here, give us a closing word, something to motivate people on the way out.
Yeah. So our word is greatness or nothing. And nothing is not an option. So just greatness.
On that note, keep being great.